Right, well today we're going to look at factorising but using a different technique. This time we're going to use the split technique. I also like to call it the AC method. Now I'm going to show you how this works with an easy one that we know how to do anyway, and then I'll show you its power. So an easy one like we would have done yesterday or the day before whenever you watch the videos would be x squared plus 16x minus 36. And we'd start with the minus 36 and we'd split it into what times what gives us 36 that subtracts to give us 16. Well, we're kind of going to do the same thing today. Now what we're going to do is multiply the first number by the last number. Do you remember there's an invisible one here? Lots of invisible ones in maths. Well, 1 times minus 36 is minus 36. Now what times what gives us minus 36? Well, we've either got 18 and 2, 9 times 4, 6 times 6, or 36 times 1. We're trying to subtract to give us 16, so it therefore has to be 18 and 2. Now I'm after a plus 16, so therefore I'm going to need a plus 18 and a minus 2. These signs are now all of a sudden very, very important. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to replace the middle term with these two. So I've still got an x squared. Instead of 16x, I've now got an 18x minus a 2x, and then the minus 36. Now I'm going to split it. Have a look at how I split it straight after the x. I'm now going to factorize each of these separately. What do these two have in common? They both have an x. So I have an x plus 18. In these two, I have a minus 2. Now you're going to discover it's very important that if this is a minus, we take out a minus. Always. Now this is therefore going to be x plus 18. I know it's a plus because I'm dividing by a minus. And minus 2 divided by minus 2 is plus 1. And minus 36 divided by minus 2 is plus 18. Now these two brackets are the same. So they form my first bracket. But if I take that out, what am I left with in this one? I'm left with an x. What am I left with in this expression? A minus 2. And it's factorized. Now that might seem very, very complicated when the other way would have been easier. But let me show you where this is so powerful. Right, let's do another example. So now I've got a 2x squared plus an x minus a 3. Difference is I now have a number here. Up until now, all you've had is just an x squared. So I'm going to start again. I'm going to multiply these two together. Well, 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. What times what gives me minus 6 or 6 that subtracts to give me 1? Well, I've got 6 and 1 or 3 and 2. Hopefully you're starting to spot that I'll need a 3 and a 2. I want it to be a plus 1. Remember there's an invisible 1 here, which means I need a plus 3 and a minus 2. So instead of the x, I'm going to write down plus 3x minus 2x. Once again, I'm going to split this into two sections. What can I take out of these two? Well, they both have an x. So I'm left with 2x plus 3. Here's that minus again. Better take it out. But is there a number that goes into 2 and 3? Well, there is one. It's 1. So let's take out minus 1. Well, I've taken out a minus, so that becomes a plus 2x and a plus 3. Now, once again, I've got a common bracket. This has to happen, by the way. If there's no common bracket, it's failed. So I've got 2x plus 3 is my bracket. Now, if I take 2x plus 3 of this one, what am I left with? An x. And 2x plus 3 here means I'm left with a minus 1. And there we go. Factorized. I will do another one for you, but remember you can rewind and watch the videos again. Right, let's try another one. So let's have a 3 this time. 3x squared plus 5x plus 2 times these two together gives me 6. 6 comes up quite a bit, you'll find out. Well, what's going to give me a plus 6? Either 3 and 2 or 6 and 1. I am adding to get 5, so I need a 3 and a 2. Leave my x squared term alone. Replace my 5x with a 3x and a 2x. And then add the 2. Split it down the middle. What have these two got in common? Well, they've both got a 3x. And I'm left with an x plus 1. What have these two got in common? They've got a 2. And I'm left with x plus 1. Notice I've got a plus here. There's got to be a sign here. You can't just leave it blank. If it's not a minus, it's a plus. Now the bracket that's in common is x plus 1. Here I'm left with a 3x. And here I'm left with a 2. And there is my expression factorized. Okay, the last one I'm going to do for you is a little trickier. It's what happens when all of a sudden that is not a prime number. It makes our lives a little bit more complicated. Right, let's try it. So we've got 6x squared plus x minus 22. Start exactly the same way I did before. We've got to multiply the 6 by the 22, which gives us 132. Now, hopefully, you recognize 132 as 12 times 11. Do you know your 12 times table? Do you know your 11 times table? Well, 12 minus 11 is going to give me the one I need. So I need a plus 12 and a minus 11. By the way, the only thing that makes this more complicated is this number tends to be higher. And in that case, you might have to just use your calculator to help you find the factors. So let's replace the plus 1x. So I've got 6x squared plus the 12x minus the 11x minus 22. Sorry, just going to change pens because that one's annoying me now. Whoops. Technical difficulties. Let's just write that out again. Now, I'm going to do the same thing I did before. What goes into these two? A 6 and an x. What am I left with? An x plus 2. There's that minus. What goes into 11 and 22? 11. And what am I left with? X plus 2. Have to change that sign again. Ooh, we have the same bracket. Woohoo! We know we're right. So x plus 2 is my first bracket. What am I left with here? A 6x. What am I left here? A minus 11. Now, Mr. Hegarty has done a video or two on this kind of technique as well. And you are more than welcome to watch Mr. Hegarty. But this is just in case you're missing me and wanted my explanation. Thanks.